The world of football has been overrun with teams like Man City and PSG just buying up any good player they see. And in recent years, we're just seeing the best prospects from around Europe going to the same clubs. Today, I am challenging Pep Guardiola's Man City to only sign players outside of Europe. And we're going to find out, is Pep Guardiola really a mastermind and one of the best managers of all time? Or did he just have the right budget? And by non-European players, I don't mean players that were born outside of Europe. I mean players that play outside of Europe, like the Argentinian League, the Australian League, CONMEBOL, and any other league that does not compete in UEFA competitions. I think this is going to be interesting, but we're going to have to start by clearing out all of our talent and pretty much starting from scratch. Now, to make sure I didn't just get a massive influx of cash here, I made sure that I sent as many players as possible out to free agency, and I got stopped at John Stones because apparently you need at least 17 players in the club to continue and start a career mode, so we're going to start with that. And that put us down pretty bad here at Man City, with only a couple players we can actually use, like Echeverri, who was signed from River Plate, Vitor Reis, another South American signing, and truthfully, I think that's it looking through this team. So we've got a lot of work to do. And before we can make any sales, we have to start with some signings because we do not have that many players. We have 17 total players in the club. So we're going to start here with a goalkeeper signing. The biggest reason for that is because Stefan Ortega is our current goalkeeper and he's really going down in rating. We have signed Lucas Mantella, coming over for 28.5 million from Palmeiras. Following that up, I didn't realize he didn't have an in-game player image. I'm going to try and avoid that in the future, though there are a lot of those players in the Brazilian league. For now though, we're going for a CDM and we're heading to the Saudi Arabian league for this one as Zaidu Yusuf comes over from Al Fateh for a swap deal with Nico Gonzalez. I definitely overpaid there. $30 million release clause for a 77 rated player feels absurd, but we did it anyways. And I really wanted to sign his teammate as well. However, I told myself I was staying non-European, so we have signed Gabriel Peck, the Brazilian right winger from the MLS, but I will not be signing his teammate Ricky Puig in this video. 30 million for him, again, absurd. In real life, this Argentinian wonder kid just signed for Real Madrid, but for us, he's coming over to Manchester City. It is Franco Mastantuono coming over from River Plate for, again, overpaying like crazy. And you know we had to sign this guy. This is our striker, this is our main signing, and the guy that I am the most excited about, mostly because he fits this video perfectly. Feels like he has spent his career avoiding Europe at all costs, or at least not playing in the top flight, even after a spell at Aston Villa for a little bit. He's recently come back to Europe and Turkey, but in this rebuild, we are bringing him to the Premier League. It is the Colombian striker, John Duran, over to Man City from Al Nassr, 35.9 million. And if I said I was going to take this rebuild slow, I was lying. The more I thought about it, the more I wanted this rebuild to fully encapsulate only having non-EU players. So we're going to stick to that here as we signed Valentin Gomez from Vélez Sarsfield. Swap deal with Savinho plus 9 million. I don't know why I keep overpaying like this. I definitely didn't have to. And we're headed straight back to the MLS, heading for someone that has both experience playing with high level players and also recent experience against playing against some of the biggest teams in the world, not just Europe, as he played in the Club World Cup with Inter Miami. It is Tomas Aviles. I'm hoping to convert him to a CDM, if not, maybe one of our other signings. Again, I'm going to be trying to sign players only outside of Europe, so I'm going to be using the academy here because that is a great place to find some. However, leagues like the Australian League and some of the Asian leagues just don't really offer high quality players all the time, and the African leagues are no longer in the game. I think we used to have South Africa a couple years ago. So those are the three places I'm going to be focusing on our scouting. And like I said, our options from some of those lower leagues are not great, but I didn't say there were none. This guy here is going to take a little bit of time to grow, but I think he's going to do it for us. It is Lee Tae-suk coming over from the Pohang Steelers for 4 million. And I could not leave out the Australian League. I really wanted to sign a player from there, so I'm going to. This guy's not going to last very long though. He was just the highest rated right back I could find outside of the leagues I've already scouted. It is Hiroki Sakai coming over from Auckland FC for 1.4 million. And with the signings over, this is going to be our team for season 1. I'm going to work on signing some backup players. I'm thinking only academy players for this video as backups, because if they end up being good enough, we can just put them in the first team and you don't have to watch me scout players that are never going to be used. So with that, let's head into season number 1 with this squad. Let's just say it's a drastic change from the usual Man City, but I think it's going to turn out well. There's only 3 players left to move from this club to make sure that we are sticking to the non-EU only lineup. Sakai, however, our 34-year-old right back, is already dropping in ratings, so I'm really hoping we get a better prospect there. But Kusanov, Mubama, and Scott Carson have to go. And since we took over at Man City, we do have Champions League this year, and that's going to be a very tough uphill battle for us. Starting with Inter Milan, October is Sligo Rovers and Slavia Praha, November Sporting and Feyenoord, December is Juve, and we end off January with PSG and Club Brugge. And here on the first 1st of January, John Duran, 21 goals and 7 assists for him, up to an 81 rated is great. Mastantuono was up +4 by the way, 10 and 9 for him. Same with Echeverry, 10 and 3, up +4. As well, we now have a full starting 11 and bench of non-European players, but we are up in 6th place currently. It does seem to be a very, very tight table. We're only 6 points above 11th place and only 10 points above 15th, so it could go anyone's way in the second half of the year. For the Champions League, however, we are 4-1-1. Currently 6th in the Champions League and the Premier League is a great place to be with such a low-rated team. But since I haven't gotten any offers for these players yet, I think I'm going to just let Scott Carson retire early, and Divin Mubama is also going to leave the club a little bit earlier than anticipated. I also decided to send any academy players that had a showing great potential tag or higher off on loan so they could get a little bit more game time. We also finally got a sale for Kusanov as he went to Newcastle for just 28 million. But two things are true right now. Number one, our team is finally fully non-European. Number two, we're in the Champions League playoffs against Leverkusen. Very, very tough opponent to face in the playoffs for the round of 16. But I think the team has grown enough. Can we get a win in game one? 2-0 loss is not enough, but we have one more game to go. All right, game 2 against Leverkusen. The team is not looking happy. Can we come back here? It's another 2-0 loss, and we are out of the Champions League. Not surprised, just disappointed. When I first thought of this video, I thought this was going to take forever, and it still might, as we haven't won the Champions League. We actually got knocked out in the first playoff round, but John Duran, 32 and 11, gives me hope. Mastantuono up +7 in his first season is also fantastic. Same with Echeverry, up to an 81. These guys are absolute ballers. As for the Premier League, we ended up placing 5th, just 1 point behind Chelsea, 2 points behind Newcastle, only 4 points behind Arsenal. We could have gotten 2nd this year if we would have gotten a couple less draws or a couple more wins under our belt. Very tough year for us, but that currently guarantees Europa League football at the very least. As for the Community Shield, it looks like we won that at the beginning of the season 4-1, and the FA Cup went to Chelsea this year, 2-1 over Crystal Palace. Carabao Cup went to Aston Villa, the Champions League went to Sporting over Juve, the Europa League to Fenerbahce, and the Conference League to Trabzonspor. And I was just thinking as well, if Chelsea won the FA Cup, I don't remember if that gives a Europa League spot or a Champions League spot, but if it does offer a Champions League spot, they might bump us into that place because we were just below them. We'll have to see if we're Europa League or Champions League next year. But the only one thing I know for certain will be happening next year is our right back Sakai will have to leave the club. He is dropping in rating so quickly, so we're going to put Hera in there at that right back spot. 1 rating less, but has so much room for growth. Season 1 down the drain, and the non-Europeans are headed to Europe. Our starting 11 for Season 2 is looking much better than Season 1, although we need that defense to upgrade massively. Our bench and reserves are a little bit full right now, so we need to get some of these players out of here. And at the very least, all of these players are going to be leaving this summer. One player, however, that I forgot was eligible to keep was Maximo Perrone, as he came back from loan last season to Man City because Man City purchased him directly from his old side in Argentina. So we're able to keep him by the rules that I guess I made up on the spot. And although I said we were going to use one of our academy right backs as our new right back, I think this team is approaching a point of the 80 rating and that next level. So I don't want to focus too much on academy players as starters, rather having them as backups. So we have signed Joaquin Garcia from Al Nassr, an Argentinian, moved from the Argentinian league to the Saudi league, and he is now here at Man City. And sadly, I was a little bit too hopeful for this year. I was really hoping that Chelsea winning the FA Cup would mean that we would get Champions League. We did not. Instead, we get to face them in the first round of the Carabao Cup. However, for the Europa League, we start off with Victoria Pleasant. October is Monaco and Lille. November, Vitoria and Villarreal. December is Feyenoord. And January is both Hearts and Arauca. I'm really hoping that this squad can just slam through the Europa League. And here at the end of February, John Duran almost has as many goals as he had the whole of last season. 29 and 3 so far for him. Echeverry 16 and 12, and Gabriel Peck 15 and 7. What a year so far. As for the Premier League, we are currently tied for first, only losing on goal difference. I am happy with that. We are still in the FA Cup. Next round is against Fulham. We're still in the Carabao Cup as well, as we've beat Liverpool 3-0 already. But since our goal is the Champions League, I'm not going to show you any of the Europa League. Let's just get to the end of this year. John Duran can't stop scoring. 48 goals, 4 assists. Echeverry as well, 31 and 21 from the left wing role is crazy. Peck 23 and 12, and Mastuono 88 rated 12 and 14. This team is crazy. And as of right now, we're only going to see one departure this year as Sakai retires at the end of the season. But I don't know if we're going to need him because I didn't have him starting at all, and we just won the Premier League, 86 points, only 6 losses all year, only 5 draws as well. That's usually a big contention point, is how many draws we're going to get. But we are heading back to the Champions League next season. As for the FA Cup, we did not win there. We were knocked out in round 6 by Sheffield United. The Carabao Cup, on the other hand, we did win 3-2 over Arsenal. That's a trophy in the books. The Champions League this year did go to Arsenal, however, and the Europa League to Milan. We did not win there. We got knocked out in the semi-finals by Frankfurt 3-2. But this team is kind of coasting so far. We're doing very, very well, and we are growing like crazy. I am loving the way this attack is playing, and I really have no qualms with this team at all as of right now. I just need this bench to keep growing. I'm going to keep up with the loan moves, and we are going to win the Champions League soon. I'd say that season 2 went well. I don't think there's much better we could have done last season because we are now back into the Champions League. Our squad is looking healthy. We're just going to let him keep growing, and we're going to win this Champions League as soon as possible. I am well aware that we have plenty of keepers on the up and coming, but that did not stop me from signing Juan Carlos Yaramilo, a 76 rated free agent at 17 or 18 years old. This guy is definitely taking at least 2 of their places, and this will be my last free agent signing, I can tell you that much. But I did want to get the Chinese league involved in some form. There's just not many good options to choose from, and I was waiting for this guy until he hit past the 70 rating mark as a backup, and when he did, he ended up being a free agent anyways. So Jiang Shenlong is coming to Man City as a free agent, and with this starting 11 being as strong as it is, we are only going for backups right now. A backup midfielder coming over from Australia. It is Milanovic coming over from the Western Sydney Wanderers for 3 million, and a massive backup here heading back to what we know and love. This squad is filled with South American players, and that is not stopping here. Another Argentinian added to the ranks. Francisco Alvarez coming over from Argentinos Juniors with a swap deal with one of our backup goalies, because like I said, that one goalie we signed takes up at least 2 spots. I will say as well, we have officially run out of options in general for any upgrades to the starting 11. Other than massive moves to the Saudi League, we are really, really thin on what we can do to this starting 11. So the goal is making sure our bench is as prepared as possible, which I think we're there with this current bench. And this amazing squad is back in the Champions League this year. We are starting with Real Madrid and Benfica. October, Galatasaray. November is Dinamo Zagreb and Bayern. December is Sociedad. And January is Monaco and Braga. That is not an easy group at all. All right, halfway through the year, same story as always. John Duran absolutely tearing it up. But this year, Gabriel Peck is right behind him, 19 and 3 compared to Duran's 20 and 2. And that has currently put us on top of the Premier League table, 3 points above Chelsea. It looks like we are still in the FA Cup, but we're knocked out of the Carabao Cup in round 3 by Millwall 2-0. As for the Champions League, we win 6-0 and 2, and we placed 4th, so we are heading to the round of 16 in our first year back in the Champions League. And for our round of 16 matchup, we are facing a club that Man City has some great history against, as they beat Inter Milan 1-0 to win the Champions League final just a few years ago. Let's see if round 1 can go the same way for us. Game 1, it's a 2-2 draw. It all comes down to game 2. Okay, game 2 it is against Inter Milan. Can we move on to the quarterfinals here? It is a 4-2 win. John Duran with a hat trick. John Duran with an endgame hat trick after securing overtime. He scores 2 more in extra time, and we move on to the quarterfinals. But that leads us to a quarterfinal matchup against a fellow English club, Arsenal. And if you can see in the top right, it's a little bit faded. We just beat them 4-1 in the league, so that gives me high hopes for this matchup. Game 1 against Arsenal, like I said, we just beat them 4-1. Can we do it again? Game 1 is a 1-1 draw with Zinchenko tying it up at the end. And for the second leg, Gabriel Peck has a red card, so he will not be in for the second leg. Can we still get the win here against Arsenal? It's a 2-2 draw, and we lose on penalties. 4-1 on penalties. We are out of the Champions League. And even with going out of the Champions League in the quarterfinal, we are going back next year as we have won the Premier League back to back. 81 points is a great way to finish off a very tough year. We also won the Community Shield this year. Great work there. However, we did not win the FA Cup. We went out in round 5 to the eventual winners, Manchester United. The Super Cup this year went to Arsenal, and the Champions League went to PSG 2-0 against Madrid, the Europa League to Bergamo Calcio, and the Conference League to Lille. But John Duran is up to an 89 rated striker, 34 goals for him, 26 and 7 for Gabriel Peck as well, with no upgrade to rating this year. Echeverry up to an 89 as well, 21 and 11, and Mastantuono 89 rated as well. We have 3 89 rated players in this squad, and our backup goalkeeper Jaramillo might just take the starting spot if we can't win the Champions League soon. He's 20 years old and already 79 rated. I like to know that the future of that position is in safe hands, literally. And we are starting this season off with a bang. I mentioned it earlier, but the Saudi League has the best options for us, and that stands true today. We have actually made an upgrade to the starting 11 at the center back role, as Ismail Ray comes over from Al Nassr, 81 million for the 18-year-old, and I bet you're wondering why. That's because he is 85 rated, higher than both of our current center backs. He is coming into the starting 11 ASAP, and I do not want to keep signing from Al Nassr, but I can't lie, they have some great options, and we found yet another one at the right back role. I know, we just signed a right back like last season or the season before even, but Vanderson, 83 rated, 26 years of age, is coming over from Al Nassr for a swap deal with Joaquin Garcia, a +3 upgrade for us there. I couldn't say no, and I don't think I'm going to make any more signings this season because clearly I am delusional right now. I was seconds away from finishing this signing until I realized that I was signing a European player. Noam Leonard from the Portland Timbers is French, and I didn't realize it. I almost just broke the rules of my own video. This deep, I definitely am glad I caught that. And Thomas Aviles is leaving the club, as we have just signed a center back that is way better for him and with much better potential. Aviles is gone, and we have put that money directly into another signing here. With John Duran being 90 rated, we need somebody who is going to hold that backup slot down and come in for the big moments, and Joao Pedro is that guy. In recent weeks, he has been the standout player for Chelsea, and now he is coming over from Al Ittihad to be the standout player for us. So this is what the team is looking like heading into this year's Champions League season, which starts with Lyon and Dinamo Zagreb, into Inter Milan. November is PSV and Real Madrid, December PSG, and January is Ajax and Osasuna. I don't know if we're going to make it out of this one. John Duran, 27-7, Echeverry, 20-11, Gabriel Peck, 14-11. By the way, our new center back, Ismail Ray, has already gone up +3 in the first half of the year. I don't know if I've made a wrong move yet, because in the Premier League, we are currently tied for first, once again, the exact same record as Liverpool. We are still in the FA Cup. However, we were knocked out to Bristol Rovers in the Carabao Cup. Maybe I did make a wrong move. But what we really care about is the Champions League, and we crushed it. Us and Milan and Monaco had undefeated seasons, us and Milan going 7-1. We're moving on to the round of 16. And our round of 16 matchup is against, of course, Barcelona. Very tough, and John Duran has a red card. So we've had to put in Joao Pedro for this game. Can we win game 1 here? Let's see. It is a 2-1 win. Gabriel Peck scoring a brace and Joao Pedro getting injured. What is our luck? Game 2, thankfully we do have John Duran back, but I don't know about Joao Pedro's injury. Hopefully it's a quick one. Let's find out though. Can we win game 2 as well? It is a 3-2 win and we move on to the quarterfinal. Beating Barcelona like that is not easy in the slightest. And the next round puts us against RB Leipzig. Wow, we really are getting no breaks in this Champions League lineup, but can we still take game 1? 2-1 win is good enough for now. We need to win game 2 as well. Quarterfinal against Leipzig. We're currently up by 1 goal, so we are not safe in the slightest. However, the team is growing well. The team is looking good, and I'm hoping they can get us to the next round. Can we do it? A 1-1 draw is enough. We move on to the semi-finals in just our second or third Champions League season. And this semi-final matchup against Juve might just be our ticket to a Champions League final. This squad is so well balanced and so incredibly good. I am hoping that game 1 goes well against Juve. Is it going to? 4-2 win. John Duran with a hat trick. 4 for John Duran in this game with only 6 shots taken. That's a great way to start out. And although we are 2 goals up, we have 2 big issues here. Number 1, the whole team is complacent, or most of them at least, because we just won the Premier League. As well, our left CDM, Yusuf, has a red card, so we're going to have to sub him out. But thankfully, we have been building up Perone on this bench ever since I knew that he could stay at this club. So let's see here. Can we book our ticket to a Champions League final against Juve? Game 2, it is a 1-1 draw. John Duran with a total of 5 goals against Juve. We are headed to the Champions League final. And headed to the Champions League final is a John Duran who is 91 rated at 24 years of age, 48 goals and 11 assists this season, with 27 and 15 for Echeverri and 26 and 14 for Gabriel Peck. This attack is absurd, and Mastantuono right behind them is just delivering. I could not have asked for a better team or a better outcome to this rebuild. And although I tried my best not to only sign from the Argentinian and Brazilian leagues, a lot of this team is from both Argentina and Brazil. However, I did stick to the goal of staying outside of Europe, and that has taken us to a Champions League final against Chelsea. Now, I am a firm believer in hoping for the best and planning for the worst, and at worst, we have won the Premier League, so we will be going back to the Champions League next season if we don't win this final. However, we did not have as good of a season in the other cups, as we lost the FA Community Shield, we lost the FA Cup to Chelsea, and Chelsea won the Carabao Cup. They are on the verge of a treble here. So it all comes down to this squad against Chelsea in a Champions League final. Let's check it out. I kind of wish I had popcorn right now watching this, but I'll settle for pure anticipation. Kickoff here, and I believe this game is at Wembley, which is fitting for two English clubs facing off in a Champions League final. I want to make sure we win it though. It has been my rule throughout my channel that if I lose a Champions League final, the video is over, so I hope that doesn't happen here. Ref, please blow the whistle. Gabriel Peck is running down the wing, and it is halftime. It is a 0-0 game thus far. And while I do have some decent sub options here, I'm not going to make any yet. I'm going to watch this game out a little bit longer. And here we go, second half kickoff, and we are starting off on a strong foot. Gets the ball into Mastantuono, back out to Peck. Peck gets locked. They're doing a great job of keeping possession, but are they going to get the shot that they're looking for? They do, and it's saved again. Our goalie is carrying us. And I am going to opt for making a sub here, just one. It's going to be Perrone coming on for Gomez. Gomez is getting plenty of touches on the ball, which means he is tired right now. So Perrone is coming on. If we get the opportunity at extra time, Joao Pedro will come on, but for now, he is staying on the bench. And here he comes, Perrone coming on for Gomez. Perrone is a player that I didn't know was eligible to keep, but I'm hoping he can make an impact here. Grimaldo running down the wing. He does have some options. Can he get to them? Ball comes in. Top of the box shot, and it is saved once again. Our goalie is doing fantastic. Ball comes in from outside. Reece James gets it, and we make the stop, but the ball stops again. It's a save. What is happening? Can we get a last minute winner, or are we going to extra time here? Ball goes out. Gabriel Peck takes the touch. Can't keep it though. I think this is going to go to extra time. Yes, it is. Extra time against Chelsea here in the Champions League final. And I do think it's time to bring on Joao Pedro. However, I am putting him on for Echeverri, and we're going to see if Joao Pedro can do it on the wing for us here in extra time in the Champions League final. This is a stressful game as no one has scored yet, so the next goal, any goal, is pivotal here. And I think I just missed it on the recording, but it says Lucas Montella, our keeper, already has 6 saves this game. Wow, what a performance from him. That is our captain, by the way. Ball comes in. It is saved, gets a shot, saved again, and a very cool, calm, and collected clearance there from our keeper. Our squad is most definitely tired, but our best option on the bench is a goalkeeper. And of course, we do have some defenders. Alvarez and Jiang Shenlong are ready to go. I just don't think they're going to be a better option than our current players, and I hope that isn't going to bite me back later, but I'm leaving them off for now. This is the squad. Let's get the second half of extra time over with. Second half of extra time, and they have subbed out Cole Palmer, which I'm hoping is good for us because he has been directing play for Chelsea. Joao Pedro gets it to John Durando. John Duran outside of the box, gets the shot. It is a goal. John Duran right out of the gate gets the goal from a Joao Pedro assist. Who knows what would have happened if I didn't make that change. That was a Pep Guardiola tactical sub and a half. And Manchester City is now 1 goal up on Chelsea as John Duran makes his 15th goal in 14th matches in the Champions League. 1-0 up. Let's hold it out. Very anticlimactic end there, but Savinho couldn't get it to anyone in time, and we have just won the Champions League final thanks to Joao Pedro, John Duran, and our keeper Montella with 6 saves, maybe 7 or 8 at this point. I'm going to check their stats, but all I'm expecting to see is that they are winners of the Champions League. Lucas Mantella had 7 saves, you can see there on the right, and an 8.8 match rating. Might just be man of the match. He is our keeper with 7 saves, was man of the match. John Duran right behind him, and Mastantuono as well. And we now get to see them celebrate with the Champions League and Premier League trophies. This bus scene here is ingrained in my brain, but it is so nice to see it as Pep Guardiola has taken a full non-European team to Champions of Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what other type of content you want to see. I'd love some more ideas, but I have plenty more coming your way, and I hope you stick around. I'll see you next time. Peace.